It's a project to document the history of our community, particularly as it pertains to the village, but also the history in general, from even before 1969, when the decriminalization happened, to today.
Homosexuality, I think the view we take here is that there's no place for the state in the bedrooms of the nation, and
we've developed a website and a mobile app that people can download that documents the history through literally just walking through the area and discovering hidden spaces and current places that were of importance to our community. Well, I think it's interesting to anyone in the mainstream community or within the LGBT community, just because it's a fascinating hidden history that often were in spaces that people would find rather hard to believe. The area around Parliament Hill, in particular, in the 1950s and 60s, even though civil servants were being witch hunted by the RCMP and losing their jobs, cruising and sort of sex in parks was happening literally behind Parliament, in Majors Hill Park behind the Chateau Laurier. And so those sorts of things I think people would find interesting, that because our community was so oppressed and didn't have any choices, didn't have any spaces at that time, they found their own spaces and they created them, often under the nose of the establishment.
Every time I took care of somebody who was dying of AIDS-related complications, knowing I was HIV positive, I always questioned, when is it my turn?
What's great about the project is that it is a living history, that I was able to interview almost 40 individuals who were community leaders and activists who lived through this period of history and who made the achievements. And even though in my personal life, I knew quite a few of them. The stories that they told me were stories I didn't know and would never have found in a history book. So the opportunity to speak to these people and learn the history from a personal perspective, I think is going to be really interesting for people who may not want to, sit down and read a history book. They can actually listen to people tell their individual stories, which are often, heartbreaking and touching, or amusing, or empowering.